Last time I talked about what I think is the best black and white film stock. So I thought it would be a good idea to follow it up with this one. I'll explain exactly why I think this is the best color film, at least for me. These are all my own preferences, and of course there's no perfect film stock for everyone. But maybe if you're interested in shooting the same things as me, this could be your type of film too. Let me know what your favorite film stock is in the comments down below. And with that being said, welcome to another episode of Let's Talk It Over. Color film. There are a lot of them and they all have a different type of look and feel to it. Some have more saturation, deeper greens, or just more punchier red tones. Some have almost no grain and some have a really gritty look. And you even have positive or negative film stocks. But there is one film stock that rules them all for me, and that is Kodak Portra 800. But that's not where my journey started on film. To be honest, I don't know which film stocks I was shooting when I was a kid, because of course my parents bought all the film. Might have been some cheaper Fujifilm stocks at the time. But years ago, when I started being more serious about film again, I immediately loved the look of the Kodak film stocks. Portra 400, Kodak Gold, those were the film stocks that I chose to use for years. For medium format, Portra 400 was always in my camera, and Kodak Gold was just beautiful for those point and shoot moments. I loved how that Portra 400 gave me that flat look to begin with, amazing grain and just a great palette of colors. Skin tones look beautiful when taking portraits, and even for landscapes, I really enjoyed the look of it. Kodak Gold was amazing too, but at that time there was no medium format of Kodak Gold. But I put a lot of rolls to my trusted point and shoot camera, which is the Canon PrimaZoom 85N, and still is. Those days a pack of 3 rolls of Kodak Gold wasn't that expensive as it is right now. I remember the days when I paid 15 euros for 3 rolls. But we all know those days are gone. Here in the Netherlands, a 3-pack of gold goes for around 35 euros, which is of course still a lot cheaper than Portra 400 or 800. So still a good choice if you like the look of the film. There was a problem with Kodak Gold, at least for me, and that was the slow ISO speed, which is 200. Therefore, I switched up to Portra 400 in 35mm too. And that one stop doesn't sound as much, but it helped me out in a bunch of situations. Some of my all-time favorite photographs are shot on Portra 400 on 35mm film, even though I switched it up. And there are a couple of reasons why. First of all, Kodak Gold was slow, or is slow, but Portra 400 isn't that fast either. And in a lot of situations where I shoot in, I need the fastest speed that I can get my hands on, while still having a nice color palette of course, but also not destroying the quality of the image. So the next natural step was to go to Portra 800. I did a lot of research on this film stock before I tried it out, because I was so in love with how Portra 400 looked, and therefore it was hard for me to change things. And also I like to have a consistent look to all of my work, and switching to another film stock could mess things up quite a bit. But there is of course nothing wrong with trying some new things, so I took the chance and committed to Portra 800 for a whole month. And that didn't disappoint at all. Being able to have another stop of shutter speed with this film stock was amazing for a lot of different situations. For street photography, events, or just day-to-day moments, I find myself in a lot of low-lit situations or with fast-moving subjects. So Portra 800 was amazing for that. But then summer came around, and during the day I found myself taking shots at 1000 and f16. 1000, which is fine, but I like to cap my shutter speed at 1/500 because it's more trustworthy on the M6. And also on the Voigtlander, I think f8 or f11 is the sweet spot if we are talking about sharpness. So what about overexposing this film stock by 1 or 2 stops? I knew that Portra 400 was amazing when you did this. Really had that distinctive look that a lot of people love. So there I decided to give it a try and see if it gives me some good results. And in my honest opinion, overexposing Portra 800 by 1 stop looks better than shooting Portra 400 at box speed. A lot of people gonna hate me now I said that. So since then, this is my approach on shooting this film stock. When the sun is out, rate this film stock at 400, so overexposing it by 1 stop. And whenever I need the extra stop of speed, just rate it at 800. For the last maybe 3 years, this has been my way of doing things. And now I know exactly how things will work out. The colors, contrast and definitely the grain are a lot more punchy than on Portra 400. And I think that fits my style perfectly. Before, I used to add all of that to my scans because Portra 400 can be pretty flat to begin with. And I also like that gritty look, so having a nice color film was exactly what I needed. And I don't think that there's any film that can really compete with it. But of course there are also a couple of downsides of shooting Portra 800. The first one is that underexposing this film stock can get ugly very fast. When underexposing Portra 400 by 1 or 2 stops, it tends to keep the shadows clean. Portra 800 doesn't do that at all. So getting the exposure right is somewhat more important. Unless you like that muddy look, then you're all good. Second one is, flying with this film stock is a little bit more dangerous. As it is a more light sensitive film, putting it through scanners will damage it faster than, let's say, Portra 400 or 200 or any slower film. So make sure that you get a hand check at the airport, but it's never 100% guarantee that you'll get one. I've got something that might help you out with this on my website, so if you're interested, I'll link it down below in the description. Another downside is that it's also a little bit more expensive than other color film stocks. At my local store here in the Netherlands, this film goes for around 20 euros. Portra 400 isn't that far off at 19 euros, but I wonder if the price increase already got onto Portra 400 and not yet on Portra 800. But we'll see. These were 35mm prices. A 5-pack of Portra 800 on medium format goes for an insane price of 104 euros, where Portra 400 goes for 90 euros. Kodak Gold, on the other hand, has a far more reasonable price at 55 euros. So if you're into medium format and don't care about film speed, please try this one out and save yourself a lot of money. It's a pretty good film stock. So for me, the price difference between Portra 400 and 800 doesn't really change my mind on it. It's all expensive. But hey, we made the choice to shoot on film, so accept the price tag. For now, it's still worth it instead of taking a digital camera with me all the time. And if I was forced to go digital, I would want a camera that's the closest to the camera system that I use right now. And that would set me back a lot of money too. How much is a Leica M11 right now? 8,750 euros. I can shoot a lot of film for that. By the way, developing a roll of color film at my local lab is 5 euros, so nothing really special there. They also don't push color film and I honestly never do that. But I guess if your lab does, then it would be 1 euro for every extra stop. And with that all being said, I think this rounds up what I think is the best color film, at least for me. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, these are just my opinions and I know that a lot of other people love other things. So please let me know what film stock really fits your style and why. And if you want to know what I think is the best black and white film stock, I'll link it down below. For now, I would like to thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you next week. Peace.